Excited about this next fireside chat with Michele Bellisari. Michele is one of the most energetic agents that I know personally. She has the most positive and addictive vibe. You can see by her background picture over there. I've known Michele for quite some time since she joined Real. And first of all, welcome, Michele. Glad to have
Oh,
you.
thank you, Tamir. I am so excited to be on your fireside chat. It's a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. And I think that every time that I'm talking to you or looking at your social media posts or just thinking about you, life changes. Like everything becomes so great and positive, and like I feel like on vacation when I'm looking at your stories. But
Perfect.
maybe maybe let's start by you introducing yourself.
Sure. I'm Michele Bellisari. I am obviously with the Real Broker, and I am based in Boca Raton, Florida. I am the founder of #SoBoca Lifestyle, and I blend in my real estate business and the lifestyle of Boca Raton and South Florida to what I do here. I'm a mom of millennials, as I like to say. My daughters are fantastic. They're bright, smart, beautiful young women. And we collaborate frequently on my Instagram in particular. One's flight attendant and a foodie TikToker, and the other one is professional photographer who did all my branding photos. I've been married for 32 years to my husband, Andy. Had a crush on him in high school, and then we connected after I came back from college. He's a sport fish captain. And we feel very blessed, and I just love the direction that my real estate career decided to go in 2021 by coming on to Real. So a little bit about me.
Thank you for the introduction. So
Sure.
you're constantly cheering for South Florida, and obviously that place is that's heaven. But how did you end up there? What attracted you to stay, and why South Florida in general?
So, fun story. I was dragged here kicking and screaming from Canada. So we have Canada as part of our company now. I'm the OG. Thank you very much. Was born in Vancouver, lived in Calgary, moved down here from London, Ontario in 1978. I am a young boomer. I'm turning 60 in a couple months, believe it or not. And I've been here for almost 44 years. So my dad started the first water slide down in Pompano Lighthouse Point area. And when I tell you, dragged us kicking and screaming, he did. And within about the month, I'm like, wow, this is cool. The beach, they have football, they have, everything's outside, surfing, parties. It was just like a whole, it was like walking into a dream, honestly. And I never really looked back once I really fell in love with it. And I like to say I'm an unofficial ambassador for Boca Raton, because wherever I go, I love talking about Boca, and people know Boca. We are a globally known city. And of course, Florida is fantastic because of many reasons. It's always been fantastic, but in particular, we have a lot happening here that's a big draw to the tech industry, to businesses. We are a no state income tax state. We have the weather, the lifestyle, and people really do love Florida, and so we've had some significant opportunities. I always have to say thank you to the mayor of Miami for posting that very profound tweet about Miami and tech, because that's a big draw. We're getting huge financial firms to Palm Beach County, which is where Boca is. And I do like to say Boca is between Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach because the state is huge. Yep. And we're about an hour north of Miami, and we are about not even a 30-minute flight to the Bahamas if you want to go to Bimini. So we're really positioned well here in Boca, because if you want to live in Miami, if you want to work in Miami, you can live in Boca. If you want to work in West Palm, you can still live in Boca. So we're in good shape.
Yeah, as you probably know, you touched a little bit on the South Florida tech scene, and you probably know that 2 weeks ago we acquired a startup that's based in South Florida, in Miami. So we are very well aware of what's going on there. If you look back at Boca 40 something years ago compared to where it is today, like how did it change over time? What are the main things that kind of changed, and why is it better today?
Well, Boca back then was very quiet. It wasn't built out the way it is now. The city elders back in the day had some wisdom in regard to height restrictions and also no neon signs here. So when you come into Boca from, say, Deerfield or other cities, you'll notice that it's really well manicured. It's, you know, really well maintained. Our tax base is excellent. If I could go back, I would buy as much real estate as I could, because who knew, you know? And I tell my girls, I'm like, right now, I know it's kind of crappy, but we're going to figure out something creative for you guys, because it's hard on young adults and millennials to try and purchase. So I'm like, well, we've got to figure this out. The difference now is Boca was kind of about the retirees. And I can assure you that we are not about retirement 100%, like it was always the running joke. We are a diverse community, all ages. There's something for everyone here. And I think the fact of the matter is we have Meisner Park, we've got Royal Palm Place, we've got Town Center Mall, we've got high-end real estate, but we also have middle of the road. We've got rentals, we've got luxury brands here. Boca has more headquarters here than any other city in Palm Beach County. We are a big draw. We have an airport here that is fantastic. It's a small executive style airport that has a customs facility. How about that? So if you're an international
business, private jet, that's the place to live.
Yeah, exactly. And CEOs like yourself, time is money. So many times it just makes sense to do the jet share or whatever and come into Boca, which is really nice. We also have 3 international airports like right around the corner. So, you know, back then it was a little sleepier, a little more quiet. There's things that I love about it from back then. You know, there was a little less, everything seems a little more regulated than it used to be. You know, we got away with a lot of stuff and it was a lot of fun. But, you know, when Mandarin Oriental comes knocking on your door, you know, that's a big deal because there's not that many of those properties around the world. So we've got the beautiful Boca Raton Hotel and Club, as we used to call it, re-envisioned by Michael Dell's company. It's now called the Boca Raton. They're doing, oh my God, I think it's, I can't even think how many millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of renovation there. That 26-story pink tower that's iconic, you can see everywhere. So, I mean, it's still a fun town. And I think the other thing is, and I get asked this a lot, is it just for, you know, wealthy people? And the answer is no. No, it's not. I mean, my family is not. You know, our house is in East Boca. It's a 2,000 square foot house that was built in 1961 that's been renovated. But we have everything here: gated communities, luxury condos, whatever you want, it's here.
Got it. Yeah, I think that when you live for many years in a certain place, you always have some romantic kind of memories of how things used to be. I have the same for my hometown city, but the world changes and places change. And I think we just have to embrace progress at the same time. So how did you end up in real estate? Like what attracted you to this industry to begin with?
So I've been in sales my whole life, and my dad was in sales, so I watched him. I did sales through college. I worked my way through college, University of Florida and Santa Fe, and I originally wanted to be an interior designer, and frankly, I just sucked at drafting, so forget that. I got kicked out basically of the College of building construction and went over to the journalism college. I'm like, well, how many things can I transfer? They're like, well, you can I'm in. So I went to the College of Journalism up there and got into advertising. And, it's funny, we talk about networking, and I tried to explain this to my girls too when they went to FGCU. I'm like, the reason I want you to join a sorority is because you can also network yourself. Well, you know what? I networked myself, and I ended up working for Warner Lambert, actually the Menon Company for about a year, and then Warner Lambert for 10 years, consumer health products, Listerine, Benadryl, big products, did pharmaceutical sales. And I was like, I think I really want to get my real estate license. Like, it really made sense. So in 2003, I got my license right when everything was ramping up. Yeah. So I just, I loved houses, and I thought, well, this might suit my personality, my entrepreneurial spirit. I'm used to working solo. Really don't like having someone telling me what to do. And I can be accountable to myself. So I thought I'd give it a try, and I've never left.
Amazing. Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see agents that stepped into the industry back in 2006, just before everything kind of collapsed, and are still in the industry. So I think that says a lot about you personally.
Thank you. Well, I think too, when you go through the housing crash, as many of us did, and my house was in foreclosure at one point. Many friends of ours lost their homes or had to short sale. It gives you a perspective on the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And I try to find a silver lining, cup half full to everything. And it was a miserable time for many people. But at the flip side, it made us more knowledgeable. It regulated things. So when we had, a pandemic, the banks weren't so quick to foreclose. They were coming forward with problem solving ideas. Okay, you know what? We know what's going on. We're going to work with you. We don't want your house. And I think those sorts of things came from that, because you want people to stay in their home.
Yeah.
So
South Florida is a very competitive market. There are so many agents there, so many deals happening, and you really have to stand out. So how do you make sure that you stand out, and what sets you apart from the others?
I think a couple of things. One of the things that I decided to do in 2012, when I reinvented myself for my business at the age of 50, was to focus on listing niches. I never understood the power of being a listing agent, and the older agents being like, well, I don't show buyers, I just list. And I never understood that. And I still work with buyers, but to understand a niche and to specialize, I think, is key to being sustainable in this industry. So I started to focus on probates and seniors that downsize. It seemed to overlap well. I went to a business coach, a friend of mine who knew me, and that was a good overlap. I understood it. I'd been through probate with both my parents. I'd been on the buy side of probate where the listing agents weren't educated. They were listing properties without getting approval. And I thought, this is something I can do. I was cleaning houses after the market crashed to make ends meet. So I knew how to clean out a house. I knew how to stage a house. And I knew how to have that conversation with the customer. So I networked myself with attorneys, and I put myself out there to stand out in a niche. So the probate niche came first, and then the senior niche came second because of the average age of the people I was dealing with. In 2017, 2018, I created my brand, So Boca. And I did that to have some balance of business and creativity, because I am a very creative person, but I'm also a high I and a true Aries. So I execute, and then I have to go back and figure things out. But coming up with So Boca has been so much fun, because it really came out of showcasing nonprofit events. We are in a highly philanthropic area here in Boca Raton. And so I was one of the first agents, and I'm still one of the first agents that really adapts the social media stuff fast. Thank God to my girls, it's Snapchat. And I was going live on Facebook, and I was promoting Seroptimist, and I was promoting Rotary, and I was promoting Habitat. Like, wherever I went, people got so used to me going live. They're like, are you going live? I'm like, I am, come on in, you know, and I would talk about the charities. And so then I was like, well, listen, I did have that journalism like side. Why not start a blog? And so I started Instagram first with no direction. And then I started the blog. It was a hot mess. And then I would say probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, I reined it all in. And I was like, this actually is a true brand. I'm trademarking this. So I got it trademarked. It's my brand. And everything that I do says hashtag So Boca. And when I'm in Clubhouse, which I'm a big fan of social audio, almost everybody knows me as So Boca. You know, it's usually brand agnostic. So we don't talk about our brokerages, but they do know So Boca. So that was another way to stand out. So I always encourage agents, no matter what your age. By the way, I did that at 55, right? So no matter what your age, don't be afraid to try new things, to try a new brokerage, to network with new people, to come up with your own personal brand. When I am talking to agents in particular about Instagram, I encourage them to have their own hashtag, something that is unique to them, right? It's a bit undertaking of what I did without realizing it, which is part of my personality. But at the end of the day, it's been a real win-win because I've had customers find me from the blog, from my YouTube channel, from Instagram. And, you know, I have my own swag and stuff. And then I meld it together now with Real, which is great. It's like perfect because Real's colors are my colors.
Yeah.
That was huge,
Yeah.
as you can see. So that's how I stand out. I know there's other agents that have different things that they do, but mine was more organic.
So let me tell you a secret. A few months ago when we talked, you told me how you started with video and how you kind of overcame that initial fear or hesitation from doing, you know, videos, because you and I were not in our 20s. So we did not grow up with a mobile device in our hands. We didn't kind of take a video of everything that we do. And it doesn't come naturally, at least not for me. So that conversation stuck with me. And even until today, for example, this morning I had to shoot a video for some event that an agent asked me to shoot a video for. And every time that I feel uncomfortable in front of a camera or just, you know, taking a video, I always tell myself, hey, just remember what Michele said a few months ago. So you're helping me kind of overcome my difficulties. So thank you for that. We also have one more thing in common, which is we love fishing.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm just looking forward to that day that I come and visit you and go on a fishing trip. But and I know your husband is that's what he does for a living.
He's a great captain. Yeah, he's a great captain. We have a 42-foot post, and he renovated it all during the pandemic, and he's chartering it now. We like to fish, and on my honeymoon in Las Hadas, Mexico, we went fishing. I should have known, like when Boca back in the day was pretty small. And so we were always at the same bars and stuff. And one night I saw him out and I'm like, when are you asking me out? And he goes, I'm going fishing. And I said, well, I'm going to an event for Warner Lambert. And that should have been my first clue, the fishing thing, because he has fished in Cuba, Mexico. He knows the Bahamas like the back of his hand. And our family's always fished, and he's a good cook too. So when you come, he will cook.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think that every guy that loves fishing, like our dream wife would be someone that enjoys fishing equally.
Yeah, I love being out.
Imagine anything more fun than going fishing with your spouse. So
yeah, it's pretty cool, and he's so good. I mean, I posted something. I don't know if it's on TikTok. I'm going to post it, but it's just showing like his mastery of being able to like most of us can't even parallel park, for God's sake. And he's parallel parking a 42-foot boat in the water. I'm like, dude, you're the
man. That's funny. So how do you, going back to real estate, how do you make sure that you continue to bring value to your clients? And you were talking about focusing on niches. But generally, how do you constantly make sure that you're up to speed and you're actually bringing true value to your buyers and sellers?
Well, I think educating them, setting the expectations. I always want my customers to have an exceptional experience. The one thing I will say is I am an empty nester, so I am not as distracted as I was years ago when baseball games and basketball and stuff. So my availability is a lot more, I think, although I do set boundaries. But educating them on the market, setting the expectation, letting them know that, like, for example, right now, if you're a buyer in this market, what the other side is wanting is not unusual. Like, they're not trying to play you necessarily. On the listing side, I deal with very sensitive situations: death, divorce, downsizing. There's a component of grief with most of that. So being sensitive to the situation, where some days I'll say to certain clients of mine, we don't have to talk about real estate today. How you doing? Rough day, you need to cry? That's fine. Been there, get it. I miss my mom and dad every day. I think being sensitive. But at the same time, we're there to guide and to be the resource to the resource, or just be the resource. But I like being the resource to the resource. So I think that's why on So Boca, I do put information out there about the real estate market now, whereas before it was more lifestyle. Now I'm adding more and more content, and I was testing it to see what the response was, and nobody had an issue with it. But to educate, why is Boca booming? What are tips that not even first time home buyers, but home buyers? Like, I did a reel the other day and a TikTok the other day about tips for the home buyers so that they can better position themselves. So I think when you do social media, this is the opportunity for us to educate, inform, and let the public know that this is a difficult market if you are a buyer, and you are going to probably have to put in multiple offers to try and get something. And we're here to help you problem solve it.
Yeah. So that's great. And what I think I'm hearing is a combination of information and emotional involvement as well, or emotional support even.
Sure.
Which, at the end of the day, this profession that we're in evolves around emotions very often. So
very much so.
Let me ask you one last question. So let's say that I'm a potential buyer out of New York, and I'm looking at properties in South Beach, Sunny Isles, West Palm Beach. How do you change my mind and kind of get me to look at Boca?
Boca is a draw in itself. And honestly, when people are looking at South Beach, Aventura, Sunny Isle, West Palm, ultimately they do circle back, because I share with them the opportunity here, the beauty of our city, the beauty of our beaches. As I said, you can drive through any part of Boca. It's stunning and well-maintained. Everything is here, from public schools to private schools, FAU, everything is here, and it's easy to get around for the most part. Yes, we do have some traffic, but typically I find that people have a starting point, and then they'll say to me, maybe we'll take a look at Boca. And I'm like, come on in, the water's warm.
Got it. Well, I'm sold for sure.
Yay. I know a great realtor.
I'll be taking the recommendation. Michele, thank you very much for your time today. I really enjoyed it. And I'm really looking forward to coming and visiting you and going fishing together.
Oh, absolutely. I've already talked to my husband about it. So just let me know and we'll coordinate that. And thank you for your time. And thank you for this opportunity. I'm having more fun in my career than I've ever had. And I feel less solo as a solo agent than I ever have. It's just fantastic. So thank you, Tamir.
That's amazing. Thank you very much.